Okay, Joe, you gonna tell me a story or not?
Okay, in '07, we had a recession. And Frank and I had a couple buildings. One was the Horlick buildings that I bought from Joe Haben, and one was Curtin Medical that I bought from 30 doctors and St. Mary's Hospital. And St. Mary's was trying to take away the ownership of the 30 doctors. And what had happened was a lawyer called me up there. I built the razor sharp thing, and he told me, Joe, I think what we should do is you can buy Curtin, and I represent the 30 doctors. So what had happened was I said, okay, well, fine. What do we have to pay for it? Well, at that time, to rebuild the Curtin Medical Center would be about $25 million. But because it's an old medical center, we had to have a price that would be affordable, because right now the hospitals are out there with non-competes, meaning these young doctors are coming and they pay them anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000 to stay with them for 30 years. They can move, but they have to move 50, not in a competitor within the next 50 miles, etc. So with that in mind, I bought the building for Frank Roselli and I for $1.7 million. And the doctors got, I don't know how much they got, but they probably got $1 million, and St. Mary's Hospital got $700,000. And the $1 million would have been split with the 30 doctors. Okay, moving forward, that was in, I think it was in '00 or '01. The recession comes in '07 at the end of the year, '08, '09, and I happened to have some buildings, that the Horlick buildings, Curtin Medical, and some other buildings where people weren't paying rent. We couldn't get any doctors to come into our medical center. We had a few, but not many, because they're independents. But the doctors, in fact, one happened to be an Armenian doctor, and he worked at All Saints. And what happened was they all had non-competes. So basically, I've had like many doctors, maybe there was a group of 5 or 10 or whatever it was, could not move because of non-competes. Now you can break a non-compete. Well, with that in mind, the recession comes and things were really getting rough. And on the 9th of January, or the December of '08 or January of '09, it just so happened that this young man happened to decide he's going to put our taxes on the Curtin Medical Center from $32,000 to $105,000. Yes, and they did it to mostly big tenants, like the golf course on Northwestern Avenue, Kmart, Walmart, or whatever it was. So they were going after us. They all beat us. They all beat the raise that was tripled or whatever else. We, because of the recession, I had a couple of my own buildings. They were behind in rent for about $2 million, and it just got really rough. And the banks were calling in a lot of loans, even though you were current. So we had a situation where we were going to sell it, and it so happened that the taxes were tripled. So with that in mind, we decided that we're going to give it up. So it was bought by a group in Texas. And I can't remember exactly how it was put together, but then they put a loan on that building through Wells Fargo Bank. And Wells Fargo basically for whatever reason, came after me, and I had a stroke in '09 because of all the pressure I had. So Wells Fargo, through one of that client in Texas, was going to come back and countersue Frank and I for $5 or $6 million or whatever it was. So my lawyer recommended that I file BK, bankrupt, to get rid of Wells Fargo. I was not upside down. I was upside down if they continued pursuing that lawsuit. So with that in mind, I went to my lawyer and said, do a BK, get rid of him. And then they asked Frank, do you want a BK? Well, what they have is a 10-year anniversary date. After 10 years, if Wells Fargo doesn't file a suit and foreclose on anything you own, and Frank happened to own a couple of apartments in his house, and they were all basically paid off. His lawyer, Frank Roselli's lawyer, my partner, decided, waited it out. And Frank, okay, now Wells Fargo gives me a lot of trouble, and I had more assets than Frank had. I had probably 25 or $30 million worth of real estate. So we filed a voluntary Chapter 11 or whatever it was. It wasn't even restructuring. And, or Chapter 10, I can't even remember exactly what the chapter was. And so Wells Fargo went away. And then what I did, if I had my brain bleed, stroke, if you will, and I ended up being in the hospital for 30 days. And so with that in mind, that's where I filed my bankruptcy. And I got rid of a lot of things. And after I got out of the hospital, I just decided that I'm going to get rid of all of the property.
What year was that?
That would be starting in 2010 all the way up to 2014. So I started getting rid of all my properties. And I'm happy that Unified bought the Curtin Medical Center, because now instead of $32,000 a year or $100,000, Unified School ended up getting it, and no taxes were paid on it. So the city got what they deserved, the tax assessor. Getting back to Wells Fargo, that went away. So with that in mind, after my stroke, I started getting rid of a lot of things that I could get rid of. And I because of the bankruptcy and everything else, I left about $17 million on the table. And everything was depressed. A $5 million building went for maybe $1.5 million, $2 million. And that was that time span between '09 and about 2011. So that basically is the Wells Fargo story, but Wells Fargo wouldn't have had to do this to me if they had it in brain cell. But Wells Fargo also got in trouble. I think it was almost $1 billion lawsuit, and they were taking advantage of people like me during the recession. So that's basically the end of the Wells Fargo story. Thank you.